Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel throneofseal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
Hum! The jet-black heavy sword emits a resounding hum beneath the dazzling white light. However, right in front of Long HaoChen, Ye WeiYang suddenly moves, her 6 wings spreading wide, and her body rapidly shrinking, until she becomes only about a foot tall, floating above Long HaoChen's back. She chants a low, gentle incantation, and concentric rings of gentle golden ripples descend upon Long HaoChen, causing the radiant white blaze on him to intensify. In the name of the goddess of light, dispel the sealed mark. Long HaoChen's resounding voice echoes once more. Suddenly, amid a deafening roar, the roof of the auction hall shatters, and a brilliant golden pillar of light descends from the heavens. This beam of light appears incredibly gentle, even Long HaoChen's radiant white light pales in comparison. Around the column of light, there is even a small, ethereal angelic figure, similar in size to Ye WeiYang, an ephemeral little angel that spins around the pillar of light. However, within this gentle light, everyone feels an undeniable sense of awe. The goddess of light, he's talking about the goddess of light? Divine power? Ding! A clear, cracking sound resounds, and a crack first appears at the hilt of the sword held by Long HaoChen, rapidly extending upwards, aiming directly for the circular gem at the sword's tip. All of the darkness, in an instant, turns into flying ashes, followed by a burst of brilliant light from the tip of the sword, greedily absorbing all the light elements in the air. Yes, it has awakened. After 100 years of slumber, it has finally awoken from its deep sleep. The descending pillar of light gradually recedes, but the radiance from the sword becomes increasingly intense. The once jet-black sword body has transformed into a translucent golden hue, and the previously dark cloud-like patterns now resemble genuine clouds, while the sword itself appears as a dragon weaving through the clouds. The bead at the sword's tip seems to come to life, and as Long HaoChen raises it above his head, gazing down upon all, there's still no blade or tip, nor a pointed end. However, on this divine sword, a 6-foot-long sword radiance naturally emanates. Amidst the ebb and flow of the sword radiance, its lack of sharpness belies its overwhelming might. The golden light gradually subsides, or at least the golden light he personally emanates recedes. Long HaoChen lovingly gazes at the now restored divine sword, his heart filled with affection. He can clearly sense that, no matter how intense the light attribute's spiritual power he releases is, this heavy sword can easily withstand it. Especially the bead at the sword's tip, which, as it radiates light, even absorbs a significant portion of the divine power of the goddess of light he previously invoked. A legend, even without its sword spirit, this divine sword remains of legendary caliber, reaching the pinnacle of legends. It's easy to imagine just how powerful it was in its prime. Miss WeiYang, can you tell me its name now? Ye WeiYang gazes entranced at the radiance emanating from the divine sword, completely unaware of Long HaoChen's voice, until Feng Ling'er reminds her. Of course, its name is Hymn of the Goddess of Light. My ancestor was the former temple master of the warrior temple 200 years ago, renowned as the light sword god, Night Woundless. As she utters the 7 words Hymn of the Goddess of Light, Ye WeiYang knows she can no longer conceal her greatest secret. After all, the fame of this divine sword is simply too great. The Hymn of the Goddess of Light is acclaimed as the nonpareil among divine artifacts. 200 years ago, the Night Temple boasted 2 God Seal Knights recognized by the Throne of Divine Seals. Yet, among that generation's 6 great temples, the top-ranked melee combatant was either of them, because within the warrior temple, there existed an even stronger figure. That person was the light sword god, Night Woundless. Night Woundless had a deep love for swords from a young age. Starting when he was 3 years old, he would embrace his sword every night before sleep. At the age of 6, he began learning swordsmanship. And at the age of 9, he awakened his sword's spirit, leading to a surge in spiritual power. He directly reached the level of a 3rd-rank battle mage. By the age of 11, he became a grand battle mage. When he turned 16, he had already reached the 6th rank, becoming a battle priest. To this day, no one in the warrior temple has surpassed this record. At the age of 29, Night Woundless reached the pinnacle, becoming a 9th-rank battle god. He became the youngest battle god in the history of the warrior temple. At the age of 47, Demon God Emperor personally led the demonic army in a fierce assault on the warrior temple's southeastern fortress. Night Woundless, the light sword god, personally intervened in the battle at the southeastern fortress. He fought the demon army for a day and a night, single-handedly slaying 7 demon gods on the southeastern fortress battlefield. Even the proud demon god emperor was moved, acknowledging Ye WeiYang as the most formidable opponent in 1,000 years. In the end, Demon God Emperor withdrew his forces, giving Ye WeiYang 3 days to rest. 3 days later, at the southeastern fortress, Night Woundless battled the Demon God Emperor. This battle, lasting a day and a night, ended with Night Woundless falling to the iron fist of the Demon God Emperor. However, his final strike also wounded the demon god emperor. That battle was earth-shattering. In the end, the victorious demon god emperor paid his respects to the fallen knight woundless, who remained steadfast even in death. Following this, the demon god emperor withdrew his demonic army. Since then, the demon god emperor has not appeared on the battlefield against the Temple Alliance for a century. A generation sword god, achieved an epic legend. The final battle, Knight Woundless didn't need to challenge the demon god emperor, as the reinforcements from the Temple Alliance had arrived. All 6 Grand Temple's experts were gathered. Even if the demon army launched an all-out attack, they might not have been able to capture the southeastern fortress. However, Knight Woundless insisted on facing the enemy alone, wielding a single sword, and challenging the demon god emperor in single combat. His words were, "For humans to defeat the demons, they must first conquer themselves. I am willing to confront the demon god emperor head-on, fighting for the dignity of humanity." Knight Woundless brought unparalleled glory to the warrior temple, much like what the Son of Reincarnation did for the assassin temple. As of today, in the central hall of the warrior temple's main hall, there still stands a 10-meter-tall statue of the light sword god. Above the statue, there hangs a plaque with large characters, "A sword once in a millennium." The divine sword known as the Hymn of the Goddess of Light was crafted by Knight Woundless himself. Knight Woundless had a singular passion for swords. He focused solely on the art of the sword. Starting at the age of 3, he held his sleeping sword until he reached the 6th rank at 16. He used a total of 5 swords. He melded these 5 swords into one, constantly refining it with his body and spirit. He fused his spirit into it. He allowed it to drink the blood of demons, absorbing the essence of heaven, earth, sun, and moon. He transformed 100 metals into its sharpness, and over the course of 30 years, he ultimately forged this sword. On the day the sword was completed, a divine miracle of the Goddess of Light occurred, and the pearl at its tip appeared. In the end, this sword was named the Hymn of the Goddess of Light. The light sword god, Knight Woundless, achieved his feats with this sword, slaying 7 demon gods in succession, and challenging the demon god emperor head-on. Unfortunately, this divine sword was forged for only a year, before it fell with Knight Woundless. On that day, the entire southeastern fortress wept, and the leader of that generation's Temple Alliance lamented, personally carving the plaque for the assassin temple. "A sword once in a millennium." Therefore, when Long HaoChen heard the 7 words, "The Hymn of the Goddess of Light," he was deeply moved, and it was beyond his imagination. He never expected that the sword he held in his hand was such a legendary divine sword. Even though the sword now only had its shell, its significance remained immense. The heavy sword lay across his body, and Long HaoChen gently touched the sword's blade with 1,000 patterns forged into it. His emotions surged, as if he had returned to the battlefield of the past. Accompanying the light sword god, Knight Woundless, in battle, as he caressed the sword, the Hymn of the Goddess of Light emitted a joyful hum, as if it were excited about its rebirth. Holding the sword with both hands, Long HaoChen offered it to Ye WeiYang and said, "Miss WeiYang, please take this divine sword." Ye WeiYang didn't take it, but instead, she gazed intently at Long HaoChen. "You don't have enough gold coins to pay for it now, but I will honor my words. You have brought the light back to the divine sword, so you are its new owner." Long HaoChen shook his head silently and said, "No. It's sacrilegious to measure this divine sword with money. I only hope that it can shine brightly once more." This divine sword has great significance. It can no longer be described as precious. It should belong to you, or to the warrior temple. Ye WeiYang sighed softly and said, "Do you think there is anyone else who can wield this divine sword? The moment you unsealed it, you became its new owner. Divine swords have spirits. Even if the sword's spirit is no longer present, it is not something an ordinary person like me can wield. Look." As she spoke, she raised her delicate hand, gently touching the sword's blade. The moment her fingers touched the blade, a strong humming sound erupted, not only lifting her hand but also pushing her entire body away, with a dense surge of light elemental energy. Long HaoChen was stunned and said, "Divine swords have spirits. Indeed, divine swords have spirits." His grip on the hilt tightened. How could he not be delighted with this divine sword? What was even more astonishing to his mind and heart was the spirit of the light sword god that accompanied this sword. Ye WeiYang gazed at the Hymn of the Goddess of Light with reluctance, and said softly, "Can you tell me your name?" Long HaoChen nodded silently and said, "My name is Long HaoChen, commander of the 21st Demon Hunting Squad." His voice was restrained by spiritual power, and only Ye WeiYang could hear it. Ye WeiYang pointed behind her and said, "Hurry and leave. If there's a chance in the future, I will definitely come to visit." Yes, Long HaoChen had to leave. The birth of the Hymn of the Goddess of Light had driven the emotions of the bidders in the auction into a frenzy. After a brief moment of shock, the entire auction scene had become somewhat chaotic. The doors of the private rooms were opening one by one, and people were coming out of them, all eagerly gazing at the divine sword in Long HaoChen's hand. Some even directly quoted astronomical numbers as prices. Just as Long HaoChen was about to put away the Hymn of the Goddess of Light, ready to leave the place, his thoughts moved, and golden light shimmered in his hand. The divine sword had already transformed into a stream of golden light in his right hand. In the next moment, Long HaoChen disappeared with a flash, and he had already left the auction hall through the back door. The bidders were in an uproar, especially those in the VIP rooms. One of the powerful individuals stepped forward and climbed onto the auction platform, causing the entire platform to creak and groan under his imposing presence. However, before he could speak, suddenly, an extremely terrifying pressure surged from all directions. The powerful individual who had climbed onto the platform was already at the 8th rank, but in the face of this pressure, his complexion changed drastically, and he quickly leaped back off the platform. A deep voice echoed throughout the venue. "Who dares to challenge the authority of the Alliance? This is a place for fair auctions, not a place for coercion and plunder. Today's auction has already concluded. You may leave now. Any further misbehavior, and there will be dire consequences." In the face of absolute power, all arrogance turned into nothingness. The auction hall, which had been blasted into a large hole by the power of light, instantly fell silent. The bidders left quickly with their heads hung low, and no one dared to linger. Although the final incident had somewhat disrupted the atmosphere, there was no doubt that, after today's auction, the reputation of the Holy Alliance Great Auction would undoubtedly rise to greater heights. The first item up for auction was the heaven-defying Demon Dragon's magic crystal. But compared to the hymn of the Goddess of Light that was presented last, what was it worth? Perhaps, in terms of practical use, the legendary hymn of the Goddess of Light might not be greater than the Dragon Crystal, but its fame far surpassed that of the Dragon Crystal. With this divine sword recognizing its new owner, not to mention other things, it would at least make its wielder an honored guest of the warrior temple. Ye WeiYang and Fengling were the last to leave the grand auction hall, with Ye WeiYang instructing Fengling to go rest first, while she herself went to the door of a room on the second floor at the back. She raised her hand and lightly knocked twice on the door. "It's me, sir, come in." A deep voice sounded, the same one that had dominated the entire scene earlier. "Yes." Ye WeiYang pushed the door open and entered. In the luxurious room, a person stood with their back to the door, tall in stature, dressed in black robes, and had not turned around because of Ye WeiYang's arrival. "You did well, thank you." There seemed to be a touch of sadness in the deep voice. Ye WeiYang shook her head gently, tears welled up in her eyes. "It should be me thanking you, sir. It was your guidance that finally brought the divine weapon of our ancestral temple back to the world. He told me, his name is Long HaoChen. He will make the divine sword shine with light once more, and he may even surpass our ancestral temple." "Ah?" the person in black robes said calmly. "You'll see in the future. He reached the 6th rank suddenly, in just 15 years, 1 year earlier than our ancestral temple. In the future, all records in the Alliance may be broken because of him." Long HaoChen had no idea that there was a mastermind behind this auction, and after leaving the Holy Aliyah #NC Great Auction, he immediately removed the mask from his face. Naturally, he wasn't worried that someone might recognize him as the young man who had been acknowledged by the hymn of the Goddess of Light. Soon, the members of the Commander Level Number 21 Demon Hunting Squad had walked out of the auction hall. "Captain Yu!" Linson rushed over excitedly, about to say something, but he was silenced by a gesture from Long HaoChen. "Let's talk about it when we get back." Long HaoChen waved to his teammates, and they quickly left, heading straight for the Demon Hunting Squad's villa area. It could be said that this harvest was full of surprises. Not only did Wang Yuanyuan obtain the coveted void silver crystal, but Linson also acquired many valuable items at a reasonable price, and they didn't spend much of their total gold coins. Most importantly, Long HaoChen had unlocked the seal on the hymn of the Goddess of Light, causing it to recognize him as its master. Even without considering the origin and symbolic significance of this divine sword, the fact that it was a legendary pinnacle-level weapon alone was enough to make them ecstatic. As the soul of the team, Long HaoChen possessed such a powerful weapon, which undoubtedly boosted the overall combat strength of the entire team. Back at the villa, Linson couldn't wait and exclaimed, "Captain, let us see your divine sword!" Long HaoChen nodded and extended his right hand. Everyone was astonished to see that Long HaoChen's right hand was completely golden, as if he was wearing a glove, and this glove perfectly matched his hand. As he opened his palm, what appeared in the center of his palm was a small, pale golden round crystal. And wasn't that the very same spirit gem that was on the tip of the hymn of the Goddess of Light's sword? Long HaoChen said. "This divine sword cannot be incorporated into the eternal melody. It seems to have its own pride. But it can take on a form in my hand automatically. I can feel its power." As he spoke, he raised his right hand, and a golden light flashed, and the dazzling hymn of the Goddess of Light appeared once again. If we're talking about appearance alone, this divine sword was not as flashy as the Blue Rain, Light Lotus. However, the radiance it emitted made up for this deficiency. At the tip of the blade was a terrifying sword aura that extended up to 6 feet, and even the width of the blade itself was a foot due to the sword aura on both sides. Undoubtedly, if such a divine sword appeared on the battlefield, it would be a killing machine. Long HaoChen looked at this heavy sword in his hand with a fond gaze. He truly loved it, even more excited than when he obtained the Blue Rain, Light Lotus. The Blue Rain, Light Lotus was earned through a trial. It could be considered as conquering. But this divine sword was an acknowledgement. Moreover, Long HaoChen highly valued the honor that this divine sword had once received. In his heart, it served as motivation for him. I will never let you gather dust. I will have you follow me, just like how you followed the former sword saint of light, Senior Ye WeiYang, to shine on the continent of glory. It seemed as though it understood Long HaoChen's words, and the hymn of the goddess of light emitted a soft humming sound once. Again, the golden light receded, and it once again adhered closely to Long HaoChen's right hand, coloring his palm golden. Long HaoChen turned around and said to his companions, Everyone, take a rest today, and tomorrow we'll go to the Demon Hunting Squad Task Tower for his promotion. After that, we'll quickly equip ourselves with legendary gear, and continue our journey by training in the Tower of Eternity. With a simple sentence, he had made arrangements for what was to come. They would first promote to the Marshal level Demon Hunting Squad, which would allow them to enter the third floor of the Demon Hunting Squad Trading Center to purchase legendary gear. After equipping themselves with new gear, they would then enter the Tower of Eternity to train and refine their skills. After enhancing their team's overall strength, they would proceed to take on Demon Hunting Squad tasks. Lin Xin, tomorrow, go to the Holy Alliance Grand Auction once more, and gift a piece of the Heavenly Demon Dragon's magical crystal to Miss Ye WeiYang. Tell her it's a token of my gratitude. Alright. Although Lin Xin was stingy, he was very calculated with his accounts. Trading a dragon crystal for the hymn of the goddess of light, it was a deal that clearly favored him. The next day, at the Demon Hunting Squad Task Tower, different levels of the Demon Hunting Squad had to accept and report their tasks on different floors of the Task Tower. If they wanted to upgrade to a higher level of the Demon Hunting Squad, they had to submit an application here and undergo a unified assessment by the Task Tower. On the second floor of the Demon Hunting Squad Task Tower, a group of young individuals arrived, a total of 7, confidently walking in with their commander-level Demon Hunting Squad tokens. The 6 personnel behind the counters almost stood up simultaneously, showing respectful expressions as they looked at these young individuals. Ever since the incident with the Cave of Fearful Wailing mission, the Alliance had thoroughly reformed the personnel in the Demon Hunting Squad Task Tower. The person directly responsible for that incident had even lost their life, so the current personnel were not only much more cautious, but their attitudes had also greatly improved. This was especially true on the second floor where commander-level Demon Hunting Squads received their tasks. May I ask, what procedures do we need to follow to upgrade to the Marshal-level Demon Hunting Squad? Among this group of young people, the one at the forefront was exceptionally handsome, with features that could be described as picturesque. He had long black hair that cascaded down his shoulders, and a pair of clear and translucent golden eyes. Even a single glance at him was enough to leave a lasting impression. Undoubtedly, the young man who had asked the question was none other than Long HaoChen, and the people beside him were his companions from Commander Level Number 21 Demon Hunting Squad. Long HaoChen directed his inquiry directly at the staff member behind the task counter. There were only 6 counters and 6 staff members here. Promoting to Marshal level? The staff member was momentarily surprised, before saying, Respected Demon Hunters, promoting to the Marshal level requires all members of the team to reach the 6th rank in their cultivation, and the payment of 100,000 merits is required to initiate the promotion assessment. Are you certain? Long HaoChen nodded and said, I'm sure, but what is the promotion assessment? The staff member explained patiently. Due to the fact that the difficulty of the tasks assigned to the Demon Hunting Squad increases significantly with each promotion, the Alliance has established a promotion assessment to ensure the safety of demon hunters. Therefore, a certain assessment is required for promotion. Only those who pass the assessment, and truly possess the ability to take on higher-level tasks, can advance in rank. Of course, the merits required for promotion need only be paid once. Even if the assessment is not passed, after their strength has sufficiently improved, they can attempt the assessment again. Long HaoChen nodded and said, Alright, then we need to undergo the assessment to promote to the Marshal-level Demon Hunting Squad. The need for an assessment to complete the promotion is the Alliance's responsible attitude toward the Demon Hunting Squad. They naturally have to cooperate with this requirement. The Demon Hunting Squad is engaged in high-risk missions, and without sufficient strength, it's equivalent to sending themselves to death. Alright, please wait a moment, and please submit 100,000 merits first. Without Long HaoChen's reminder, Lin Xin quickly stepped forward and completed the transaction with the staff member for 100,000 merits. The staff member retrieved a form for Long HaoChen to fill out, then swiftly left to inform the assessors. The form that needed to be filled out was quite simple. It required the names and strengths of all team members. It also required the original Demon Hunting Squad number. Long HaoChen filled it out as follows. Commander Level Number 21 Demon Hunting Squad, Captain, Long HaoChen, 6th Rank Radiant Guardian Knight, Inner Spiritual Energy, 7,000, Vice Captain, caier, 6th rank assassin, inner spiritual energy, 5,000. Team member, Wang Yuanyuan, 6th rank battle monk, inner spiritual energy, 5,000. Team member, Shima Xian, 6th rank red robed bishop, inner spiritual energy, 5,000. Team member, Lin Xin, 6th rank grand mage, inner spiritual energy, 5,000. Team member, Chen Yi, 6th rank beast tamer, inner spiritual energy, 5,000. Captain Long HaoChen, Squire Knight Han Yu, 6th rank radiant guardian knight, inner spiritual energy, 5,000. When filling out Shima Xian's position as a red-robed bishop, Long HaoChen's hand with the pen hesitated for a moment, and he glanced at the violent version of the red-robed bishop, shaking his head helplessly. The staff member didn't take long to leave, and returned shortly after. After receiving the form filled out by Long HaoChen, the staff member was speechless, as he glanced at it and said, "Are you the commander level number 21 demon hunting squad?" Long HaoChen asked in confusion. "What's wrong? Is there an issue?" "And no, there isn't." The staff member seemed to stutter while speaking, swallowing hard. "So, it turns out they were the ones who caused the big cleanup in the task tower last time. But why do they look so young? I mean, forget about Marshal level. Judging by their age, it's already lucky for them to become a commander level demon hunting squad. However, in the face of the reputation of commander level number 21 demon hunting squad, this staff member didn't even dare to ask, and respectfully said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please follow me to the Holy Alliance Grand Trial Grounds. I have already informed the Demon Hunting Squad inspection team. Your assessment will take place at the Warrior Temple Trial Grounds." "Alright, thank you." The Holy Alliance Grand Trial Grounds weren't far from the Demon Hunting Squad task tower, and soon, under the guidance of this staff member, they arrived at the trial grounds. The Alliance's service for the Demon Hunting Squad was indeed commendable. The assessors responsible for the examination were already waiting here. Surprisingly, there were 6 of them, judging by their attire. It was evident that each of the 6 major temples had sent one representative. They all appeared to be in their 30s or 40s. When the 7 members of Long HaoChen's group entered the trial grounds under the guidance of the staff member, the 6 assessors in charge of the examination couldn't help but exchange surprised glances. Their eyes filled with astonishment. They were incredibly young, weren't they? Did they advance from soldier level to commander level? And there was a mistake? However, when the staff member handed the form that Long HaoChen had filled out to the head knight assessor, they understood that there was no mistake. Long HaoChen and his team were indeed here for the Marshal level demon hunting squad assessment. It was just that they were so young. But how old could they be? The oldest among them doesn't look more than 25, right? The staff member from the demon hunting squad task tower handed over the form and then quickly stepped aside. He also had to play a supervisory role. Although they were puzzled, the assessors didn't say anything. After all, Long HaoChen had filled out the form very clearly, and based on the levels he had indicated. These young people did indeed have the ability to undergo the Marshal level assessment. Long HaoChen took bold steps forward. Approaching the 6 assessors, he placed his right fist across his chest and performed a standard knight's salute. "Respected assessors, Captain Long HaoChen of Commander Level No. 21 Demon Hunting Squad, along with the entire team, is here to report for assessment. Please proceed with the assessment." The head knight assessor returned the knight's salute and said, "Hello, I am the knight assessor for your assessment. To advance from commander level to marshal level in the Demon Hunting Squad, you must undergo our assessment. The assessment will consist of the following. Firstly, we will test whether your spiritual energy meets the requirements. Then comes the assessment of your individual abilities. Each person must pass the assessment for the team to level up. Are you all ready?" Long HaoChen respectfully said. Reporting to the assessor, all members of Commander Level No. 21 Demon Hunting Squad are prepared. The knight assessor nodded and said, "Very well, let's start with the spiritual energy test. If everyone indeed possesses 6th rank abilities, as you indicated on the forms, then we will proceed with individual assessments." "Yes." The others also stepped forward, forming a line in front of the assessors. Each assessor handed a crystal ball for testing spiritual energy to each of them, and requested that they release their spiritual wings during the test to prevent cheating. This precaution was taken to prevent any form of cheating. After all, some spiritual drugs could temporarily boost spiritual energy values, but the 6th rank spiritual wings were an unmistakable sign. Under the somewhat astonished gaze of the assessors, at the next moment, 7 individuals unfurled 8 pairs of spiritual wings behind the young members of Commander Level Number 21 Demon Hunting Squad. The rich fluctuations of various attribute spiritual energies instantly caused the entire warrior temple to become turbulent. The other assessors were somewhat better. Although they were all relatively young, they dared to come for the assessment, indicating that they likely had some foundation. However, that knight assessor was genuinely taken aback. Han Yu's spiritual wings appeared quite normal, just slightly larger than those of an ordinary 6th rank knight, showcasing his exceptional talent. However, when Long HaoChen's 4 wings, shimmering with radiant light, appeared, the assessor was thoroughly shocked, and for a moment, he was left speechless. "What kind of spiritual wings are these?" as a high-level knight himself. He had seen countless types of spiritual wings, but 4 wings as extraordinary as these were a first for him. The numbers jumping on the crystal ball held in Long HaoChen's hand were becoming increasingly intense, eventually settling on the number 7. 316. It was clear that he had been modest when filling out the forms. The other assessors also noticed the situation, and these 4 wings were indeed extremely rare. The knight assessor finally managed to regain his composure. Long HaoChen, what is the story behind your spiritual wings? Long HaoChen loudly replied. Reporting to the assessor, I don't know either. It may be a mutation in my spiritual energy. On his side, the red-robed bishop couldn't help but interject. Assessor, our captain has a unique talent. He is naturally different from ordinary people. Unique talent? The knight assessor's mouth twitched slightly. Such a unique talent was indeed quite remarkable. Moreover, he had to report this peculiar situation. Please wait a moment. Due to the unique nature of your spiritual wings, the others can proceed with their assessments first, and I need to report your situation to the Alliance. Long HaoChen was a bit helpless, but he couldn't control the nature of his spiritual wings, and they would inevitably appear as 4 wings when released. Very well. The knight assessor hurriedly left, and the other assessors were also quite curious. However, the assessments had to continue. The knight assessor temporarily left, so Long HaoChen and Han Yu could only watch for now. According to the order, the first to undergo the assessment was Wang Yuanyuan. The others temporarily left the testing area, leaving only Wang Yuanyuan and the assessors of the warrior temple. This warrior assessor had a robust physique, and his full plate armor made him appear even more imposing. He carried a shield in his left hand, and a heavy sword in his right hand. There was no hint of underestimating Wang Yuanyuan. After all, a scion of light was different from ordinary professionals. Even though they were both 6th rank, a scion of light could handle at least 2 or 3 ordinary professionals. Although Wang Yuanyuan was quite young, the assessor was still very cautious. Are you ready? The warrior assessor asked Wang Yuanyuan. Wang Yuanyuan replied. Please wait a moment. Her spatial guardian armor was neatly worn, and looking at the armor, even the assessor couldn't help but feel envious. She was only at the 6th rank, but she wore radiant tier equipment. On the other hand, the assessor, who was also a high-tier professional, was wearing nothing more than demon-enchanted tier armor. Boom! The shield of giant god fell to the ground with a resounding thud, startling the warrior assessor. This fearsome shield was even taller than Wang Yuanyuan herself, thick and substantial, emanating an aura of dominance as it appeared. Another radiant tier equipment. The heart of the warrior assessor twitched once again, as scions of light were truly remarkable. Wang Yuanyuan embedded 3 empty silver crystals into her shield of giant god, and at the same time, she asked the assessor. Assessor, what criteria must I meet to pass the assessment? The assessor's expression turned somewhat bitter as he said. We, the assessors, are all around the 6th rank, level 5 in strength. You must defeat us, to be considered as having passed the assessment. Due to the astounding nature of Long HaoChen's 4 wings, the assessors had actually forgotten to explain the assessment criteria earlier. 6th rank, level 5, roughly equivalent to an internal spiritual energy level of over 6,600. Oh, I'm prepared then. Wang Yuanyuan nodded. Their conversation was overheard by the others standing by the side, and Shima Xian arrogantly remarked. 6th rank, level 5, huh? That's no pressure at all. Long HaoChen shot him a glare, and he shut up. However, the expressions on the faces of the nearby assessors didn't look so good. They thought to themselves, you may have better equipment, but the gap in spiritual energy can't be entirely compensated for by equipment. Just as their emotions were fluctuating, the assessment in the field had already begun. Oh, no, to be precise, it had already ended. A silver light flashed, and with a deafening roar, it ended. Yes, from start to finish, Wang Yuanyuan had only launched a single attack. Oh, and she also tested her spirit furnace ability.